So you're a philosopher?
Yes. 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 I think very deeply. I think very deeply. I think very deeply. I think very deeply.
In about 4 seconds, a teacher will begin to speak.
I think very deeply.
All right, man.
Overweight doubles in the house. The overweight doubles in the house. The overweight doubles in the house. Doubles in the house.
All right. You're listening to Breaking News, absolutely breaking the news with Harry, a.k.a. The Brave, on WNHH, LP 103.5 FM, your home for community radio. What's up, people? I was snowed in yesterday, so I wasn't able to do my 2 o'clock show, but I wanted to give you a quick show. It's going to be really quick. I started late, have to end early to prepare for Paul's show coming up, but I want to give you a few things, I want to, because the Cohen hearings came and went. I never got a chance to comment on them, but I want to give you the lunacy of the left and how everything is perceived, right, from the left, and how out of this world you have to, how their minds are freaking crazy, out of this world, right? Not out of this world intelligent, out of this world insane, right? But let's go right into it, because I ain't got no time. All right, I'm gonna go to a Rachel Maddow clip and how how excited she is. Almost fantastically is excited. She's just like amazed, and as if she has something on our president. Right? So let me go to the Rachel Maddow clip. Hopefully this stuff is working for me today, because don't have the time for it not to work. Here we go.
Longtime personal lawyer Michael Cohen is the possibility of tax evasion. Well, if they were going to look at potential tax evasion, what would they need to look at in order to look for potential tax evasion?
What would they need to look
That
at?
brings me to this sort of incredible moment from today's hearing, where California Democratic Congressman Jimmy Gomez elicited this brand new explanation for why President Trump has refused to this day to release his tax returns.
I almost want to go back so you can see that again.
Mr. Cohen, I'm going to tackle the president's tax returns. During the 2016 campaign, you said you personally wouldn't, quote, allow him to release those returns until the audits are over, unquote. For the record, nothing prevents individuals from sharing their own tax returns, even while under audit by the IRS. Mr. Cohen, do you know whether President Trump's tax returns were really under audit by the IRS in 2016?
I don't know the answer. I asked for a copy of the audit so that I could use it in terms of my statements to the press, and I was never able to obtain one.
Can you give us any insight into what the real reason is that the president has refused to release his tax returns?
Statements that he had said to me is that what he didn't want was to have an entire group of think tanks that are tax experts run through his tax return and start ripping it to pieces, and then he'll end up in an audit, and he'll ultimately have taxable consequences, penalties, and so on.
All right. And that's where you have to stop, right? And you have to think of how excited. Now, this is a 4-minute clip. I could keep playing it, and maybe I will. But she's excited about the fact that maybe we're going to see the real reason Trump isn't showing his taxes. Oh, maybe. And it's like the first question, right? So they're acting as if Mr. Cohen knows something. Mr. Cohen, do you know if Trump's taxes were really under audit? I have no idea. I have no clue. So But what would be the reason you think he wouldn't want us to see his taxes if they weren't audited? So the mental gymnastics, I'm constantly saying it because you have to flip over 3 times backwards and to understand that Mr. Cohen said he doesn't know whether they were under audit. But now, so it should be end the story there, right? Because the question is, Mr. Cohen, Mr. Trump said he couldn't show us his taxes because they were under audit. Were they really under audit? I don't know. The man doesn't know, right? But for the Democrats, that's never it. Now they're going to ask him to get into... Now remember, this guy is a convicted liar. But they want the opinion of a convicted liar. What would be the reason you think he wouldn't tell us? Well, like any normal American, we don't want anybody going through our taxes for fear we might get audited or maybe have to pay some tax penalties. So his reason why he would think that Trump wouldn't want people digging into his taxes is like any other American. He doesn't want to have to pay tax penalties. Aha! Aha! We got him now. We got him now. But that's where these people are so lost. That's where the Democrats are. We don't have anything on him, and hopefully I get to the story of Congressman Nadler, who's in charge of the Finance Committee or Judiciary, whatever committee, and they're investigating Trump. He was on Meet the Press. He was all over the TV this weekend. Do you have any evidence of anything? No, we don't have any evidence. And since we think collusion's out the window already, we're gonna go after everything. And us as Americans, we have to decide whether harassing somebody, going in search of a crime instead of having a crime and seeing if the person is guilty of that crime, if that's something we want as Americans, people actually harassing a president. Forget the president. You want somebody harassing you. Do you want somebody harassing you, actually looking at your tax returns to see if there's something, if a zero was misplaced here or misplaced there, and then to try to stick you in jail for it or impeach you for it or throw you out? Imagine if because you were a little bit off on your tax return, you lose your job. That's what they want. The Democrats are insane, but I want to go back to the beginning of this video. I want to go back to the beginning because I want you to see how excited Rachel Maddow is. Let's see.
Personal lawyer Michael Cohen is the possibility of tax evasion. Well, if they were going to look at potential tax evasion, what would they need to look at in order to look for potential tax evasion? That brings me to this sort of incredible moment from today's hearing, where California Democratic Congressman Jimmy Gomez elicited this brand new explanation for why President Trump has refused to this day to release his tax.
Brand new explanation of what? They asked Cohen, do you know if Trump's taxes were really under audit? He said he doesn't know. What's the brand new explanation? Is this is why we're going to impeach a president? Because we get a liar to go on in front of Congress and say he doesn't know whether the president's taxes were on audit. But wait a minute, Cohen, Mr. Liar, Mr. Convicted Liar, who's going to jail, who's going away for 3 years. Can you please supply us with what you think? Can you just tell us what you think? Because that's what we're going to run with. And then you have the liar say, well, you know, he doesn't want you to look at his taxes like any other American. We don't want to have to pay tax penalties. It's insane. But these are your Democrats. They have nothing. They have nothing. And they know. They're showing their cards now. They know that Robert Mueller's going to come out and say no collusion. Right? Because this was your star witness here. The Democrats had Cohen in front of Congress and they told him, Mr. Cohen, do you know if Trump colluded with the Russians? In my 10 years as the president's lawyer, no, he's never colluded. This is ridiculous, but, you know, these are your Democrats. All right, you're listening to Breaking News with Harry A.K. The Brave on WNHHLP 103.5 FM, your home for community radio. I'll be right back. Right back.
Yo, it's the G-O-D, B-O-D, yeah, rock your body. Illegal business controls America. Business controls America.
I never ever ran from the Ku Klux Klan, and I shouldn't have to run from a black man.
Industry rule number 4080. Record companies are shady. Yeah, I know y'all been waiting. Y'all been patient. Let's go. I be the MC version of Huey P, the all-seeing through my 2020 brown Bruce Lee's, Malcolm X / Muhammad Ali, karate chapter riders block with the Hasi Selassie karate. Your photo shoots with the same old stare. You're sitting there in the wicker chair, holding the heat. You're in the spare with my coalition comrades in the rear. Pat downs, peasy, we here with their fists. Cause of what I say, these just wanna blast me away, but I'll be back with no delay, like Jesus Christ on Easter Sunday. In the rings, they wanna murder God body. Sacrifice the life of the Christ on Good Friday. Resurrect and return the wreck. Snap a nigga neck for some live effects. Approach the podium, give a mic check, adjust the specs, bless the chest with a bulletproof vest before I catch wreck. Spitting and spazzing yo in the side of assassins and rapping before biggest bullets be blasting yo at my black ass.
All right, you're listening to Breaking News with Harry, a.k.a. The Brave. Look, this is almost too comical. I'm thinking about it, and I'm actually hearing people outside the studio laughing at what I'm talking about because it's insane. What your star witness, now the Lord and Savior of the Democrats, Michael Cohen, the Lord and Savior of the Democrats, Michael Cohen, the one that now now they have all their eggs in Michael Cohen's basket. He's the guy, a convicted liar. He's the guy the Democrats are looking for a direction and where to go in investigating Trump. I thought we had collusion. And we do have collusion. Let me remind everybody of the real collusion, because Hillary Clinton paid for the dossier that came from Russian spies. Okay, so if we're looking for who actually, because now we know there's no money. Trump hasn't paid any money. They would have found that. But they have found that Hillary and the DNC paid $10 to $12 million for a fake dossier. They paid the British spy, Steele, to get information from Russian agents. And they came back with, they have pictures of Trump or video of Trump being urinated on in Russia. That's what they came back with. Okay? They did come back with that they had a paper trail of any money being given to Trump or Trump paying money to them. So they tried to embarrass Trump out of the election. When the dossier didn't work, then they had a backup plan, right? You had the two agents, the FBI agents, Lisa Page and Peter Strzok, having an affair and tweet and texting each other, you know, Hillary should win 10 million to 0, or rather 100 million to 0. You know, this is the thing. If we're looking for collusion, look at Hillary with the FBI and the British spy Steele getting information from Russians. You want collusion? That's collusion. Okay, let's move on. Here was another video. This is the same thing. Michael Cohen testifying. But I want you to hear it, because if you haven't heard it for yourself, listen to the ignorance that's coming out of this man that everybody's taking as fact. Everything is fact. This guy contradicts himself so many times in his first opening statement that it's insane. But let's listen. Come on, video.
Mr. Trump knew of and directed the Trump-Moscow negotiations throughout the campaign and lied about it. He lied about it because he never expected to win.
Okay, I got to stop there. Mr. Trump knew about the Moscow negotiations. Now, the Moscow negotiations is that Trump was looking at actually building a Trump Tower in Moscow. Now, he's been looking for this for years, right? Building a Trump Tower in Moscow. Now, because Moscow is run by thugs and communists, they have never even gotten past getting permits to go and look at properties. Cohen was in charge of going out and seeing if he could apply for permits. He never got past the permit process. So there was no deal in Moscow. There's no deal in Moscow. Michael Cohen never got past getting permits in Moscow. There was no deal in Moscow. So when Trump says there's no deal in Moscow, there's literally no deal in Moscow because Cohen couldn't even get permits. But here goes, this is the most, the best information you get out of it. He says that Trump ran, but he didn't take it serious. He didn't think he was going to win. He basically was running for president as a commercial for his Trump brand. So if he's running for president basically just as an ad campaign for his Trump brand, you can't take that and then say this guy colluded with the Russians to win when he didn't think he was going to win because he was running a commercial for Trump, for the brand Trump. This is what I mean by the mental gymnastics that you have to do. You have to do a backflip, cartwheel, come back, do a forward flip because you went back and forth and back and forth. You can't say this guy never intended to win. This was basically a commercial for Trump Corp. And then say this guy was so conniving and wanted to win at all costs that he colluded with the Russians. Which one is it? Did he want to win or did he not want to win? Let's continue to listen.
He also lied about it because he stood to make hundreds of millions of dollars on the Moscow real estate project.
Problem is that there was no project.
Dear
okay, that was the end of it.
Let's talk. I love
the problem is that there was no project. There was no Moscow project. Michael Cohen couldn't even get past the permit process. How are you going to have a project and say he stood to make hundreds of millions when you can't get past the permit process? But like I said, the most important thing that he said there is that Mr. Trump never intended on winning. It was a big commercial campaign for the Trump brand. You can't say this guy wasn't serious about ever becoming president and then say he tried to win at all costs, that he even colluded with the Russians. You have to pick a side. You can't have both sides. And this is the problem with the Democrats. They keep switching sides. They keep switching topics. I'm going to get him on collusion. Oh my God, no collusion. Let's go after his daughter and her business. Oh my God. Let's go after Don Trump Jr. for having a meeting with the Russian. I want to see how many meetings Democrats have had with Russians. This is the thing. They keep moving the goalpost because they can't score. So they want to take another shot at it. This is the thing. The Democrats are evil. They're evil, but they're setting a precedent for future Democrat presidents to come. Remember this. I was listening to MSNBC this morning where they were telling us what? That what Nadler, Congressman Nadler is doing, going after everything Trump, all his businesses, everything even before he became president, which the Congress doesn't have the authority to do. But they're going after everything Trump. And they said, hey, this is congressional oversight. They were saying elections have consequences. The Democrats won the House, so this is congressional oversight. Remember this. Remember what you're saying. Because it will come back to bite you. Karma is a bee. And it will come back to bite you. When a Democrat gets in there, and this is the problem with Democrats and Republicans, they think that the other side is never going to take power again. But when a Democrat president is in there and the Republicans either have the House or the Senate, get ready. Get ready for a congressional colonoscopy. Because they're coming after you. You are setting the precedent. All right. I'll be right back. You're listening to Breaking News, absolutely breaking the news with Harry, a.k.a. The Brave, on WNHH LP 103.5 FM, your home for community radio.
My phone popping all day, dog. Just can't get a break. Got shit on, my calculations off. And I can't be a minute late. Couple dollars made, couple minutes make some more. Couple dollars made, couple hours make some money. Listen up, youngin'. I got no time for your mood swings. I got my mind on a few things. I give me some money, I give me some power, I give me some hurt, and I'm cool beans. What got you so hot is that we so cool and we get to do all the cool things. You is losing, computers computing, and my shit, it cost me a few G's. I threw me some bread on my light bill, cause that shit affect how I view things. No bumps in the road, you just come and you go, don't directly affect how I do things. I stick to the script, get my money palin'. I leverage my art and that set us apart. I keep Kevin my heart, but no funny styling. Keep weight on my scale, but I want it balanced. Hold up, I just know to win. It's been a rocky road, and when the hot get cold, I got the lock and load again. You either rollin' or get rolled over. You either here or you over there, but you see it clear like it's in slow motion. Pulling out the biggest that I own, like here, you get the big promotion. My phone popping all day, dog. Just can't get a break. Got shit on, my calculations off, and I can't be a minute late. Couple dollars made, couple minutes make some more. Couple dollars made, couple hours make some more. My phone popping all day, dog. Just can't get a break. Got shit on, my calculations off, and I can't be a minute late. Couple dollars made, couple minutes make some more. Couple dollars made, couple hours make some more.
Rachel, I love Rachel Maddow. She's like a cartoon cartoon, and she embodies everything the Democrats are. Oh, look, my mic was up. All right. It's interesting because you're listening to breaking news, by the way. So somebody just came in here, won't say his name, but because people are outside listening to my radio show, right outside the door, and they were saying that they think I have a crush on Rachel Maddow. And here's the thing. I do like Rachel Maddow because she's a cartoon and she embodies everything the Democrats are today. She's not serious. You can't take anything she says serious. You just saw she was hyped about something that turns out to be nothing. So she's like, this is brand new. Oh my God, wait till you hear this. Cohen, do you know why do you know if Trump was really under audit? No, I don't know. What? What a climax. What a climax. So they go, oh, wait a minute. Wait, he just said no. So can you give us an idea of where to go with this? Please, Cohen. We're out of ideas. Can you tell us where to go with this? What do you think that Trump meant when he said there was no audit? I mean, there was an audit. You know, that's the thing. The Democrats are insane. They're out on the ledge. They're out on the ledge with Cohen. But that's okay because they thought he would be their savior. Okay. They want to go backwards, but they brought me backwards. All right. So I'm going to play another Cohen video because my time is running out. And like I said, I have to set up for Mr. Paul Bass, who's to come with his show. But let's listen to Cohen, and then I'll wrap it up real quick. Whew, you're listening to Breaking News, absolutely breaking the news with Harry, a.k.a. The Brave, on WNHH LP 103.5 FM. Your home for community radio. Now let's listen. Come on, Cohen. And here it goes. Come on. And of course, they do this to me all the time. Facebook or YouTube. But let me refresh this video. Let's see if we could. Here
he
we
is
go.
complicated, as am I. He is both good and bad, as do we all. But the bad far outweighs the good. And since taking office, he has become the worst version of himself. He is capable of behaving kindly, but he is not kind. He is capable of committing acts of generosity, but he is not generous. He is capable of being loyal, but he is fundamentally disloyal. Donald Trump is a man who ran for office to make his brand great, not to make our country great. He had no desire or intention to lead this nation, only to market himself and to build his wealth and power. Mr. Trump would often say, this campaign was going to be the greatest infomercial in political history. He never expected to win the primary. He never expected to win the general election. The campaign, for him, was always a marketing opportunity.
Let me pause there. I know I went over this already. But remember this. Listen to this guy. He's a walking contradiction, right? Mr. Trump is generous, but he's not a generous man. Mr. Trump is kind, but he's not kind at all. You know, he's a walking contradiction. And this was the Democrats' star witness against Trump. You can't make it up. Let's keep going.
I knew early on in my work for Mr. Trump that he would direct me to lie to further his business interests. And I am ashamed to say that when it was for a real estate mogul in the private sector, I considered it trivial. As the president, I consider it significant and dangerous. But in the mix, lying for Mr. Trump was normalized and no one around him questioned it. In fairness, no one around him today questions it either. A lot of people have asked me about whether Mr. Trump knew about the release of the hacked documents, the Democratic National Committee email, ahead of time. And the answer is yes. As I earlier stated, Mr. Trump knew from Roger Stone in advance about the WikiLeaks drop of emails. In July of 2016, days before the Democratic convention, I was in Mr. Trump's office when his secretary announced that Roger Stone was on the phone. Mr. Trump put Mr. Stone on the speakerphone. Mr. Stone told Mr. Trump that he had just gotten off the phone with Julian Assange, and that Mr. Assange told Mr. Stone that within a couple of days, there would be a massive dump of emails that would damage Hillary Clinton's campaign. Mr. Trump responded by stating to the effect, "Wouldn't that be great?"
Okay, let me pause it right there. Because here it is. Here it is. Right? Now, Roger Stone, I think that he said July 20th or something like that. Roger Stone calls Trump and says, "Ooh, just heard from Julian Assange. Emails are coming." Oh, that would be great. Where's the collusion there? Where is the collusion there? And by the way, Julian Assange had been hinting and announced that emails were coming for 2 weeks before they were actually dumped. Julian Assange was on different media outlets saying, "We have a big dump coming, but we're about to take a dump all over Hillary Clinton." He had been saying that for 2 weeks. And then Roger Stone, now keep in mind, since Julian Assange was saying that for 2 weeks, Roger Stone called and said, "Look, just spoke with Julian Assange." And by the way, Roger Stone is a well-known liar also. Okay? A person who lives in bombast. He's always a bombastic person, always talking hyperbole and everything. And then you have him call Mr. Trump to gain favor with Trump. "Hey, I hear this about Julian Assange." Now, everybody knew that because Julian Assange had been saying it for weeks on public TV, on cable news. But they want you to say, and listen to Trump's response. You got to listen to Trump's response there because he says, "Oh, wouldn't that be great?" Because since Julian Assange had been teasing it for a while, he would say, "Hey, if it happens, it happens. That would be great." Where is the collusion there? Let's listen.
Stating to the effect, "Wouldn't that be great?"
Wouldn't that be great?
Mr. Trump is a racist. The country has...
Wait a minute. He just skipped over that's jaw-dropping evidence, right? Roger Stone says, "Hey, I hear Julian Assange is going to drop some emails, going to take a dump all over Hillary." And Mr. Trump says, "What? Where's the collusion there?" Don't you think he should have had a greater response than, "Wouldn't that be great?" But, you know, if you're a Democrat, if you're a Democrat like Rachel Maddow, you have to see this as big news. You have to see it as big news. Because without overstating regular information, you have no news. Remember, and I don't have time today, but Rachel Maddow did a show about Michael Cohen about maybe 8 months ago, saying that she had evidence he was in Prague. And Michael Cohen in this hearing said he's never been to Prague. Now, how does that make people like Rachel Maddow feel when they've based this whole collusion story on false information? Their anonymous sources are laughing at them. All right, let's finish this up because I got to get out of here.
Seen Mr. Trump court white supremacists and bigots. You have heard him call poorer countries shitholes.
Ooh.
In private, he is even worse.
Now, here's the thing.
First daughter, Ivanka.
Here's the thing. We never heard. He said, you've heard him call, other countries shitholes. We never heard that. We never heard that. That was something that a Democrat came out saying after a private meeting with Trump. You've never heard Mr. Trump use that language. You've never heard that. And to say Mr. Trump is a racist, and this is another thing. I have plenty of news today, but I'm not going to get to it. Because you also have when Representative Mark Meadows brought a long-time, 30-year employee of Trump, an African-American woman, a black woman, right? He wanted to contradict Michael Cohen, who offered no evidence. All he did was, I think Lenny Davis, right? I think that's his name, the Clinton lawyer who was behind him, who's his lawyer. I think Lenny Davis had his arm in the back of Mr. Cohen. I don't know where it was tucked, but it was somewhere. And he was parroting everything the Clintons have said. Everything Hillary has said. Michael Cohen became a Hillary supporter. He's using her lawyer. He offered no evidence. He parroted another lie, saying you've heard him call other countries shitholes. You've never heard that. Right? So this is the Democrats' last hope. Well, not entirely their last hope, because now you have Nadler. Let me get to that story before I get out of here. Okay, here it goes. I got it on screen. Nadler says Ivanka Trump, others could quite conceivably become part of House probe. Right? So House Judiciary, there you go. Committee Chairman Gerald Nadler, from a Democrat from New York, said Monday that Ivanka Trump and other associates of the president could quite conceivably hear from his committee despite being left off an initial round of document requests. Now, he's put in a document request, and also he's looking to actually have 80 people come before his committee to talk about Donald Trump. Talk about Donald Trump from the 80s, Donald Trump from the 90s, Donald Trump from the 2000s, right? He wants to know everything Trump because, as he put it, Mr. Mueller's looking for a crime. The Southern District of New York is looking for a crime. He just wants to look for dirt. He's not interested in actually looking for a crime. He's looking for dirt. Let's see if we could get this thing playing.
That's all we can say. We're also saying that all the people on the list have given information already to either the special counsel or the Southern District or somebody, and all we're asking for at this point is the information they've already turned over so that it can be done quickly and without questions of privilege.
Okay, so when you say initial list, there's going to be more lists?
Well, there's going to be more requests. There may or may not be more people.
Okay, so there's going to be more requests, but may or may not be more people. I'm just trying to understand.
Yes.
You're saying everyone on this list has gotten requests before from various places, so that might be one way you sort it. But is she eventually conceivably on?
Conceivably, certainly. I can't say, but quite conceivably.
All right. So, don't want to hear that commercial. All right, so basically, he's going after the Trump's kids, Trump's businesses, everything Trump. That's what he's doing. Now, they are no longer looking for crimes. And he was on this show, Erin Burnett's, on Sunday shows, saying that, you know, his committee is just going to look at everything. They are in search of a crime. So, Robert Mueller's looking at collusion. That's not enough for him, right? Even though they base their whole get Trump narrative around collusion, now they don't feel that Mueller's coming back with collusion. So now they're plan Bing already. They already got their plan B set. We're going after everything Trump. We'll destroy his children, his family, everything, his businesses, because they're still upset that he won in 2016 and Hillary didn't. What happened to a lawful, peaceful transfer of power when you win? Remember when they said that they were afraid that Trump wouldn't accept the loss if Hillary won him? If Hillary's actually president today, they were afraid that Trump wouldn't accept it. But as I've been saying forever, that if you want to know who the Democrats are, what they're doing, just look at what they're accusing you of. They always project their evil onto others. All right, I got to get out of here. It's been fun. I'll do my show again Friday. You've been listening to Breaking News with Harry, a.k.a. The Brave.
Overweight doubles in the house. The house. The overweight doubles in the house. The house. The overweight doubles in the house. The house.
You're a philosopher?
Yes.
103.5 FM on WNHHLP. All right, people. I got to get out of here.